We're
Yes, we will.
live. We're live on another episode of
It's actually a
playing
special earlier episode.
special early episode. Yes. Thanks for joining another episode of Playing Artist, a weekly web show where we talk about just being artists, trying to do the damn thing through our trials and tribulations and trying to figure it out. I'm Antoine Marchildon, and joined, always is Alex. Alex, how are you today?
Doing well, man. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about this stuff, tabletop RPGs and whatnot. And if that's the sort of thing that tickles your meat wagon, well, just
Tickles.
consider maybe supporting the show. Maybe you can. What's the best way here? You can like it. You can subscribe to it. You can comment it. Is that it? Is that
That's
all?
about it. That's all we got,
And
probably.
you could. You
Tell your
could, you
friends.
could you could write playing the artist on the board and go stand on the corner of the street and just get the word out. Maybe do that for 8 hours in the sun.
In the sun.
Yeah.
It's almost October, dude.
Yeah. That's sunny somewhere.
So that's true. It's sunny somewhere.
Yeah. Although doing it in the rain might garner more attention, so I'm not opposed to that either. How you been, buddy? I had a whole bunch of shit I wanted to talk about, but I forget. Well, I didn't forget all of it. Did you have something on your mind this week? Did you want to just catch up?
I got 3 days left.
Oh, so your self-imposed deadline. Do you feel like you need to perform and like do extra, or are you happy now? Because it's like, oh, I
No,
can.
I'm actually happy for how much work I got. I'm actually happy for how much work I got. However, though, I think I'm gonna need a couple more days because not on making new stuff, but not on making new stuff, but what's the word I'm looking for? So there's this one model. There's a few of these models where you can like slip in another piece, and so like it kind of flushes up a little bit better.
Yeah,
But the indentation part, the part that's indentated, and so you want to put the piece in, it's just kind of a flat wall. And I was just like, oh, I'll just make that a flat wall because no one's going to see it because you're going to shove something in it. And then I was like thinking, well, wouldn't it make sense just to like have some sort of design in there, like make it just like a door or something? So like if somebody just wants to use that individual piece,
yeah,
they could
some
just
kind
use
of
it.
something to
Yeah,
fall back on, right? Like
exactly.
default.
Uh, so I'm like, shit, I got to do this now. So I have to go back, but it's gonna be easy because I just have to make like two different doors and then just like slip them in there.
Yeah, you know what?
Uh,
Dude? I wouldn't stress about this kind of work. Like,
oh no, that's like revision, you know?
yeah, like you can always do your Kickstarter and then, take a week to do this kind of stuff too. Like, presumably when you back a Kickstarter, it's to support its development, right? Like, I think it's totally fine and not. I don't think it's too cumbersome for you to stop and like, while because you're gonna be prepping all the material and like, getting all your
But
pieces together,
I'm
making
yeah,
pages.
yeah.
You're probably gonna think of all this stuff as you're doing that.
I'm probably going to. I don't know. How do you think I should tackle this? Because I have to go through all the models and make sure that they're all proper for an STL file. You know, make sure there's no artifacts like inside the model, so it doesn't like print an extra thing. Make sure the
Yeah.
bottom's flush and all that stuff. And then also renaming them and kind of name them more properly. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
uh, should I just like tackle it like that, where it's just like one after the other, or should I kind of like one day that's all I do, and then the next day I hop on and like do Kickstarter stuff, like start writing up like my stuff and start taking. Well,
Mm.
you know what? I should be able to just kind of
Well,
jump in between all
yeah.
that
I think you can do it
kind of
all in
stuff.
tandem. It might be good for you to get a break to just when you need something, like when you need to think about something, you need to just do something mindless and like I'll just go through my models and fix them up and organize them and stuff.
Yeah.
Like after these 3 days, you've done all of the visual work that you need to
Hmm.
do
Yeah.
to support a Kickstarter, and really like you can continue to refine this stuff. I think you can have a lot of breathing room, you know.
Yeah.
Like even if you like the Kickstarter's funded and you deliver things like a week later, or a week and a half, 2 weeks later, it's probably still pretty like fair delivery, right? Schedule.
What are you
But
trying to say though? You're saying I should still have work on the table even though I released the to Kickstarter?
I think there's some work, yeah, that's maybe fine to do.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. All I'm saying is that like after this day, all this other Kickstarter work is unblocked for you, right? So you can really kind of just execute on that Kickstarter and get that train going without it's free to do it, right? Like you're just not blocked. So
All right. Yeah. Because I gotta.
you laid down the tracks. You've got all the material if you need to pull up a model and create something to look cool.
Yeah, and I have to print stuff too and then paint it. So
Yeah,
that
that's right.
takes a time.
Yeah, how many models are you going to paint? Like what percentage of them? You can't do them all, can you?
No, because there's about 50 models. So and some of them are fucking huge too. So some of them are like kind of like two models.
How many of them have you printed so far?
4.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they probably take quite a while too, right?
Well, it depends on them, right? Which one?
Yeah.
However, though, I did discover something. So I was messing around in my Kira settings, right? And so I guess I'm just a big dummy dumb, but I didn't know you could do this. So if you go into your actual like custom settings in your Kira, because I thought like it only did like 10% for the infill, like it only did like 10, 20, 30, all that stuff. But you can actually go to like 5 and 6 and 6.5 and all that stuff at the bottom there.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I'm saving like a couple hours sometimes on these models.
Mm.
And then you can change the config. I don't even know if that's the right word for that, but like the pattern of the infill, and depending on the pattern of the infill and the shape of the model, the infill will actually be quicker. So. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true, right?
So I go to the infill stuff and I just like start messing around with it a bit and see if like I can shave off a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know.
I've messed around with like the gradual infill where it starts at the base because most things have like you print things with kind of a wide base and then as it gets up, it's a bit tighter. So I don't know, it gradually becomes more dense as you go up. And I can't remember why I needed to do that, but anyway.
Probably no, because you were when you were making your piggy man, his legs were always getting clipped because you print that thing upside down, right?
Yeah. And one thing I had to do with that guy was like increase the wall thickness because like it's set by default to like 2 millimeters, but if you had like a 5 millimeter leg, then it loses so much structure. Like you might as well just print those things solid. So anyway, something if you're doing minis, something to consider. I totally think you should print everything. Like it'd be really awesome to have just a master set of all your stuff. And I also think like if you have like a master set, like that might be a cool like really upper tier like for Kickstarters to say like, hey, I've got this like you can have my original prints of the Kickstarter and just put it at the very top backer list like you can because you can limit your backers, right? Like you can say
you can have 1 or 2 or 5 or 10
2 seats for this.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that because I have to mail it out and then paint all that.
One thing.
One thing? You said everything.
Well, you'd be mailing one box of stuff.
That's a massive box, dude.
Yeah. You have to, I guess, you would have to take several toys and put them into a box and then
it's 50.
And go to the post office. Yeah, that's true. 50. You would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you charge people for shipping, right?
I suppose so. Well, it depends how much how much the tier would be, right? So you would put the shipping in there, right?
A lot of times the shipping is not in those tiers. like for physical rewards, they're just like plus shipping, and shipping is just calculated later.
Yeah.
And you get raked over the coals, I suppose.
Well, depending where you live, right?
Yeah.
If like some Polish guy is like, I got the special gift. That's like, I don't know, weird Slavic Russian.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, can't afford it. Have to turn off lights now. You know.
That's more like Norwegian, I think.
I suppose so. Yeah.
There's this Kickstarter I was looking at. It was like a Polish Kickstarter, and like, you know how when a fantasy Kickstarter has the intro and they hire some dude to like talk in an epic voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, so the whole team is like Polish, right? And then
are these guys terrain guys? They make terrain?
they were making like it was a video game. It was a video game.
Oh,
like,
okay.
RPG basically. And like, but the guy they hired to do it had like an American accent, like
nice.
This old man American. And I was like, well, they should just use a Polish guy. I think that would sound dope, but maybe to them it's not as exotic, so they like wanted it like someone with a foreign accent, right?
Oh, dude, I went through Fiverr, and like there's a gang of those people that are just voiceover people.
Oh, really?
Some of them are amazing. Like you look at them, you're like, you listen to them. They have little what's it called again? Like audio cues, like just to hear what they sound like. And some of them are like, wow, these people are like spot on professionals. You know what I mean? And they don't charge $5. They're like, some of them are like 100. Well, it depends what they offer. Like it might be like, I don't know, like 2 minutes of talking, like I don't know, 200 words. It might be like $90 or sometimes over $100, or less words.
So it's by the word, right?
Yeah, it's like by words kind of thing. And there's a lot there that are pretty bad, where it's like, well, clear. And of course it says $5. You're like, well, you're clearly worth $5. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But for that Polish thing you were just talking about, well, it depends what they're going for, right? Are they trying to be like Double Fine production, where it's like Tim Schafer, the actual like founder of Double Fine, and he gets in front of the camera for his projects and he's like, hey, I'm the founder and I do this and blah blah? Or is it like,
it was both? Yeah.
Or is it like
it had an intro. It was kind of cool, like just like your typical like, it's like a fantasy intro, like there's fire and epicness and the voiceover.
Yeah.
And then they go and they talk to the devs and so I've been passionate about this game for 800 years and now I'm going to finally do it.
Cool.
Yeah. And then that was that. But another Kickstarter I saw that I thought was interesting, and I thought of you just because you're doing one, is it's called Everdell, Spire, Crest, and Bell Fair. Jesus. I don't know what any of those words mean.
I'm pretty sure I've heard Evercrest before.
No. It's Everdell, Spire, Crest.
Yeah, what I said.
Yeah, it's sort of EverQuest.
Oh, yeah.
Which is something else. Anyway, it's one of those Kickstarters that's like 8 million% funded.
Yeah.
That's like it's a.
How much did they ask for though?
They asked for. I got the page. Oh my God, it's like climbing as I'm looking at it. They asked for 40 G's. They got like $1 million.
$1 million
in Canadian dollars.
Oh, and, well, where are they from?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, because that kind of depends,
Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Oh, that's in the UK. So that $1 million is only 500,000, pretty much.
Wow, I don't know. It is what it. I mean, we all trade. It all kind of balances out, like pounds and euros or whatever.
Nah, dude, pounds are like almost double a Canadian dollar. It's like 183, 84, something like that. That was a lot.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, but anyway. So but what it was cool about, or I don't even know if it's cool, but like you watch the video, and the video is just this. All it is maybe like 10 illustrations cycling with some epic music and like text about the world and the theme of the game. Like, you get to play
I've
this,
been thinking about that.
blah blah blah. And you know that there's zero gameplay. There's like zero pictures of the game itself. There's no like, this is what our figures look like. This is what the board looks like. This is how the game plays. Nothing. It's just all. It's just juicy illustrations and text and epic music, and that's it. And that's all it needed to like just be funded like a
That.
million Canadian dollars. And it's like, man, I'm starting to think about how when I've done those game jams at EA,
Hmm.
and you jam and you make a playable game over the course of a weekend, and you just break your balls,
Yeah.
and then you pitch it to like the leadership team, and they don't play your game. They just look at your presentation, your pitch deck of the game,
Yeah.
which is like, you jam on the game for like 99% of your time, and then you throw together your pitch deck because you have no time to do it because you spent all your time making this game. And then it's like, but that's all you're getting judged on is like this, 5% of the work that you put in, right?
Yeah. It's a pitch, dude.
Yeah. So this Kickstarter, I think, is like the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. It's like, it's all about your juicy video. So, man,
Dude, but
got to
you
work.
didn't even describe a juicy video. You just talked about
It wasn't
pictures.
even that juicy. It was just
Huh?
like, but like the imagery was, it was
Cool.
definitely, yeah, like had a consistent theme, and it was like, if that's your jam, like, woodland creatures in a fantasy world, like, it was enough to get your juices going.
I'm gonna stop you there for 1 second. Did
All
you
right.
check if this person had previous Kickstarters or he had a website or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the
that's a good
details?
point. That's a good point. Yeah, I think they did. I think they did.
Yeah. Those those motherfuckers that are like that's their income is making Kickstarters like once a year. Like they know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
maybe have a following, and just at this point, anything they do is a given.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember I was saying that I have to go. You were telling me to go do some reconnaissance research for
Mhm.
Kickstarters that failed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So I couldn't find that many that failed in the 3D printing terrain world.
I know. Yeah.
However, though, I did find one, and the only thing that one had that the other ones didn't was he just had very poor. Like his models weren't that great, but the thing is, like, well, it's like that's not the biggest issue because there's a
Yeah,
lot
we've
of other
seen
people.
some
There's a
really,
lot of
really
other,
interesting models get funded.
yeah, and what it was like he just didn't have enough. He didn't have enough flavor, and he didn't have enough. Like he didn't have really like a theme. It was just like here's some terrain kind of thing, and it was just kind of open
Yeah,
ended, and it was very just kind of blah
uninspiring.
blah. And he just kind of had some 3D prints that were painted, and then had it kind of like on a table, on a war table, like a sorry, wargaming table, and he just kind of had some Space Marines and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, I, learning how to render is like a really valued thing. They're like really learning how to like use Photoshop and like tweak your renders or your shots or your beauty shots and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, because like I was looking at other Kickstarters and like they were like maybe a little bit fancier, but like for an example, there's this one dude. He has like 7 Kickstarters, and they're all been funded, and they're all been decent. Like he makes rough. Like his lowest one was probably like 3,000. He got $3,000 for, and his highest ones have been like 7 or 8,000. Like smaller, but there were smaller Kickstarters, and you could tell it's like a one man operation, like me.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't want to toot my own horn. Clearly, like I don't know, just less technique than me.
Mhm.
But however, he had a lot. He had a name. He had like a little logo, and he had like a plenty of different renders. He had every model he had a render set, and he had it kind of like in a little scene there, just rendered out. He just had it all
Yeah.
rendered out, and then he had a bunch of. And at the bottom of all those renders, he had some actual physical 3D prints. Him painted them, I suppose so, and they weren't painted well either. Like I could do a better paint job than that, and I haven't even been painting for. I haven't even been painting for 6 months. I feel I was better than that, and they all been funded, and I was just like, well, damn. It's just like it's kind of like the 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 pitch, as you say, or just the Kickstarter page is kind of like an illustration or or like an article. Like it's like it has to like pull you in. It can't just be like no name brand in the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go to the supermarket, there's so much. There's like why do we need these illustrations in different colors on all these different boxes of noodles? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all the same pretty much. With like one should just say that one's chicken, that one's beef, and that, like you know what I mean. It should just be a white label with black text. But no, they're like, oh no, we're gonna write this and we're gonna put this little character, and we're gonna do this and blah blah blah. And so like, and then when the advertisements play and people see it and they're like, oh, I remember that, and they see that and they're like, yeah, why not? I'll buy that. Boom, and they put it in their goddamn basket because it's what they saw around or it just caught their eye or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and it has to kind of illustrate some sort of story where you're essentially stealing people's time to look at your stuff. Like that's all you're kind of doing. That's like the biggest part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a reward for lingering. It's like something to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And and sorry, tripping over my words as usual. The book I've been reading has been talking about storytelling and all that stuff, and he said this one thing where the consumer has to tell himself a lie to justify him buying whatever he needs to buy or she needs to buy. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like coffee. There's a bunch of different coffees, but some might be vanilla and some might be whatever. But there's like 5 other coffees that have vanilla in it, like 5 other brands. You know what I mean? And they have to paint a story or get the consumer to see your story, so when they see it, they can tell the story in their head, like, oh, this is from a small company and blah blah blah, and like there've been 5 generations of coffee growers in Colombia and blah blah, and like that story. Like, well, why do you know that? It's like because they tell you through marketing and like through like the advertisement, like through the box or whatever. Like a lot of times you look at like a lot of organic stuff, you'll like turn it around and it'll be like, oh, blah blah, we're a blah blah in BC, and we locally grow our potatoes for our potato chips and blah blah, and we're always trying to make the best flavored blah blah, just a bunch of jargon, you know what I mean? And then people see that, like, oh, okay, and then they in their head they're like, the story's in there, and so they're not looking at a potato chip anymore. They're looking at a BC homegrown potato chip that's a bunch of dudes that are trying to make the best flavored potato chip. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not just a potato chip
talk
anymore.
About later, and yeah, man. Like I think a juicy illustration is awesome on these.
Yeah. I need to try to find some sort of hook. You know what I mean? Like, I have a bunch of space industrial stuff, so it's like, okay, I gotta try to find a word to like name this. I can't just call it space industrial.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? I gotta find some sort of name, and then give some sort of flavor. But then also, I was looking at Kickstarters and stuff, and they do put a little thing where it's like, who am I and what am I doing, and like what's my goals, and like kind of thing. Like they put like a face behind it. You know what I mean? They put like some.
Oh yeah.
Some.
I never really checked that out.
It's always at the bottom. I always see it at the bottom.
The
bigger ones, anyways. I find.
Yeah. If I was like maybe really stoked on a Kickstarter, I might go down there and read that stuff. But.
Yeah, that's just like extra for the hype people, right?
Yeah, man. Like renders are good and great, and there's like a game there that I think you can excel at and stuff. But yeah, I really liked how Danny, for his campaign pitch, whatever, Kickstarter, He had a lot of art that he commissioned some illustrations in there, and there was some nice paintings and stuff. And yeah, an illustration doesn't have to always be a painting. It can
There
be.
will be an illustration, and that will be the logo of the campaign. Like I want to make a picture. So
Yeah.
when you see that picture, you're like, oh, that's that Kickstarter. You know what I mean? So let's say they visit it, or like let's say when you're on Kickstarter and you like Google tabletop games or 3D printable tabletop games or whatever. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
like a picture. That's like your first entry of like what they're gonna see and what they're gonna click on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of some sort of emblem and like the name of the Kickstarter, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in the background is like the rendered, like almost like a rendered industrial city, like my models. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
in the background. And so it's like, oh, there's this name, a cool little emblem or whatever, and then I have my logo in the corner, you know, just to be like, oh, look, this is the whatever.
Mhm.
And then they'll see the renders in the back. And they're like, oh, sweet. And they click that, and then you start fucking show them all the goodies, all the stuff, and what you're about, and blah blah blah. And then it seems like that's the what's the word I'm looking for? That's the recipe, anyways.
Mhm. Well, you need a good splash page, right? Like,
Yeah,
when I was browsing through, and that's what I'm looking at is like, what's the first page? Like, what's on there? You know, you need a taste of the flavor of the art. You need to know. I don't know. I mean, sometimes like a name like Everdell, Spirecrest, and Belfair. Like, I have no idea what any of that means.
I
Well, it was nice that there was
I'm
some good
pretty sure
images.
that might be some sort of like D&D lore or like some sort of like lore of something. You know what I mean?
It's got to be. It's not. I mean, what else could it be?
I have no idea. I have no idea. There's so much stuff
Yeah.
out there, man, that you just like come
Yeah.
across. You're like, what is this? And it's like, oh, it's this turn-based, you know, tabletop, fucking steampunk horror game.
Hmm.
And you use cards to activate abilities, and it's like, oh, is this how long has it been out? It's like, oh, it's been out for like 10 years, and people like thousands of people play it. You're like, what? You know what I mean? It's like a whole different world. You didn't know existed.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see your illustration. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's a cool idea. It's good. I think every Kickstarter needs that. It's like
Something with a skull.
the skull. Yeah.
Something
Well,
with a skull. I'm thinking like a skull. Something that looks kind of like industrial military skullish with some tech on it, maybe, you know?
sounds like the Gears of War logo to me already.
Yeah, the Gears of War logo is just a skull with teeth on it and a gear around it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a little bit more techie, not just
There you
Gears.
go. Yeah.
That game, the new one looks pretty nice. I'm gonna sound like a dick, but my friend worked on that game.
Yeah.
It just looks like every other Gears of War game, but with a fresh coat of paint. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
all right. That's okay, cause like,
Even that is an accomplishment in itself.
oh, most
It's a
definitely.
whole new team, and it needs to feel like the old games.
But it has to be different, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
It
got to
can't-
be in some way.
That's such a that's because the thing is like, there's some Ravage fans when it comes to Gears of War, but like in any genre of stuff, there's Ravage fans, right?
Yeah.
So, like the game that we worked on Plants vs Zombies, right? There is a core audience that fucking loves the Garden Warfare, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare franchise. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
they like what they like, but however, they still want a little bit more. They want something a little different,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah,
too
yeah.
spicy. You know what I mean? They just want it just enough, just a different. You
It's
know?
such a tug and pull. Like there's a sweet spot there. Like when you send your game out to like get pre-reviewed or whatever. Like
Yeah.
one of the comments is always like, how innovative is it? Are you doing anything new? And then there's some fans. You release your game, and then if anything changes at all, they're like, oh god, it changed it. Like I hate this.
Yeah.
Why did you change it? I liked it the way it was. It's like there's like a desire for your game that's like pulling it to be just like DLC of the previous game. Just give me more content of what was there. And then there's this also like, well, you're a video game, and so you've got to be innovative. There has to be something new. Like Nintendo, there's always something new about every game. Even to the point where like they always err on the side of like of innovation, to the point where sometimes games
Might
kind
fail.
of gimmicky.
Yeah,
Like,
no, most
oh,
definitely.
Zelda, but you have a bird on your head now for the whole game, and it's like I just
It's
want
true.
more.
That
Link
was a game. You're not making that up. That's an actual game.
I know. Yeah.
What was it called?
I think that was Minish Cap, which was actually a decent one, a decent Zelda game.
That's the thing though. Like Nintendo, they're a different animal, man, because they come from a different culture than a Western culture. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. There's
like
something new about it. They won't push it out.
yeah, like they took so long to get online play. You remember the GameCube didn't have online play. At the
Yeah,
tail end of its existence, it did have
yeah.
some online play, but for its whole lifespan, it didn't have any, which is crazy in a world where like that was like ramping up to be the next biggest thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it was so obvious that was
Yeah,
the next thing. And
yeah.
even on the Wii, when they finally introduced it, it was so bare bones
Oh,
and
yeah.
barely there. It was like really just like a pinky toe in the water of online play.
Yeah.
It's like compared to what everyone else is doing.
Well, that's the one thing with it. Well, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say a double-edged knife because everything's a double-edged knife. But
Not a butter knife.
sure, butter knife. Well, no, because we know this. Speaking of Miriam, because she's from Korea and like in Asian cultures at like a company, like a business, seniority, you know what I mean? Like older people that have been in the business for like years, like they get essentially like the final say pretty much. Like, you know what I mean? Like people like listen to them and they pay attention to them and they're like, okay, he's the whatever and like that's it, that's all kind of thing. And like
Are you
Nintendo's
talking
a
about the structure of like Korean companies?
no, I'm just talking about in general at Asian companies like in Japan and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
there's a reason why you see all the like the Japanese heads are like old men. You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
they've just stuck around. There's nothing like there's no there's no like
nothing
oh
pulling the curtain.
I'm the new whatever young
Yeah,
face that came out of whatever and I have promising whatever. It's like no, it's like you got to be in the trenches for years. We don't give a shit
yeah.
what cool thing you did once. We want years, my dude.
Well, yeah. You can get curmudgeonly people on the old side, but you could also get, like Justin Trudeau on the young side. Yeah. There's like you want somebody in the middle. You want like
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's case by case.
You gotta keep what is it? You gotta keep your heart. Gotta keep your heart forward. No, you keep your eyes. What is the fucking saying? Anyways, fucking up sayings.
Keep your nose
Um,
to the ground.
no, I was gonna say it's something like you keep your heart forward and keep your eyes to the past, or something like that.
Oh,
You know.
all right.
Um,
So you're studying history but you're also I don't know.
you're
Fucking know.
trying to like predict the best outcome forward.
Feeling it out.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Also, they just work a lot harder than Western companies too. By the way, like Japanese game companies.
Yeah, yeah. The work-life balance thing is like.
Man, they don't get Saturdays off, dude.
I hear they're getting better now. Like they're like
What
turning it around
in Japan?
Yeah, it's
They
like
they don't get Saturdays off, dude.
they work 6 days a week.
They get half days on Saturdays,
Hmm.
and then Sundays they get Sunday off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Crazy.
that would be the worst.
I know.
I'm thinking about taking every Wednesday off because I've got a bunch of comp time built up, and
Yeah,
thinking about how dope a 4-day week would be.
it would
There
be
you go.
pretty nice. Why Wednesday though? Why not like Monday or Friday?
I don't know. I'm not a big like long weekend guy. I
Yeah.
mean, I like them. Don't get me wrong; they're great. They're better than a 2-day weekend if I'm given the choice, I guess. But like there's something like if I ever have a day where it's like I have to go into work for one day and then I have this other day off, like that one day feels like such a breeze. I'm thinking, well, if I took Wednesday off, then the most I
Oh,
could work in succession is 2 days.
yeah. I see what you're saying. It's kind of like you're coming up for air. You know what I mean? It's a little blip where it's like, oh, okay, breathe. Okay. You know.
Yeah. So think about doing that.
But make sure you utilize that day, my dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what else I'm wondering. Like, if I took a week off, would I, you know, would I utilize that time, or would I just fill it in with like a vacation or something, which I might do. But if I took like a Wednesday off, maybe I could start a routine for like 5 Wednesdays in a row, and oh, that's my whatever day to do some stuff, do some sort of project thing. Yeah, I'm really.
That's very vague. Maybe you should make it a little more concrete. What are you wearing, by the way? What is that?
It's Freddie Mercury shirt.
That's amazing.
He's like got a
Stuffed animal.
what is it, like a dog or something, or a bear.
He tried to fight Sid Vicious, eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they were like in the same recording studio, him and Sid Vicious, Freddie Mercury.
Hmm.
And Sid Vicious said, have you brought ballet to the masses? And at the time, he hadn't came out gay yet, right?
Well,
At the time, he was still a straight man. And but I guess like around the business, people knew, you know what I mean? And
I feel like everybody had to know because like the band called Queen and
dude, fucking Judas Priest, Rob Howard,
Halford.
Rob Halford. He was gay, and he would dress up in a leather daddy outfit at his concerts with a whip and a leather hat and a leather vest and like whip people in the crowd. And people were like, "Nah, he's not gay. He's not gay. He's super straight. What are you talking about? He's super manly. He rides on a motorbike with his leather jean jacket and his leather hat. You know what I mean?"
Bikers, these like really straight macho bikers are showing up like that.
Yeah,
with the little hat.
Yeah, and him too. He hid the whole time. He hid the fact that he was gay, and he was trying to. And he even said in interviews, he's like, "I dressed like that because I wanted to like." I didn't want to say it, but if I could just project it and try to get it, kind of ease it in people's, soul that I'm a gay man that sings in a metal band.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a lot easier. But nobody bought it. They were just like, "Nah, he's really badass."
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And you look back at those photos, and you're like, "Man, he's super gay."
Yeah. Well, at the time, like maybe that hadn't been defined as like.
That's true.
Gay. It's like although what was in the Village People, like there was a biker in the Village People that looks a lot like Rob Halford.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Were they openly gay at the time?
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing. That was the whole gimmick.
Okay, so he kind of took that visual language maybe from the Village People and was trying to.
No, he took that visual language from that kind of culture of like tough gay men.
Yeah.
Turbo
Lover, baby.
Yeah, Turbo Lover. What was I gonna say? Anyways, we got on a crazy tangent. I was talking about fucking Freddie Mercury tried to fight Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
And anyways, he like grabbed Sid Vicious and like grabbed him by the neck and like threw him against a wall.
Good.
I know, right? Freddie Mercury was the man. It's kind of funny. He's like super manly, but he's a gay man. You know what I mean? It's just like.
Yeah. Well, I went to the Queen concert, and I just like, I got like this sense of just power. Well, I guess that's the whole theme of metal is power, right?
Yeah.
And they are kind of metal. They're pretty metal. They're a straight up metal band if you ask me.
Oh, Judas Priest. Yeah, of course.
No, I mean Queen even.
Oh, Queen. Oh, Queen. Yeah.
Queen. There's some there's some tracks that aren't metal, but if you listen to a Queen album and then listen to like a Ronnie James Dio album, they're not much different, right? And Dio is like, he's like,
It's just the storytelling.
yeah, nobody's more metal than Dio, but
Yeah.
he's only like half a beat away from Queen.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
Yeah.
just, it was like, you know, the singer was Adam Lambert, and he's very like, he's like, gay and effeminate, but like Freddie Mercury, like when you see him on stage, he's gay and masculine, he's like different.
Yeah, no, he
Very
was
powerful.
he was still a man, but he just liked having sex with dudes. That's it.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I
didn't.
mean?
It wasn't like this like image of what you'd expect. This sort of like I said, effeminate man, and it was like you just whatever, fuck you kind of
Yeah.
thing. I got a real sense.
It's well, you know what though? The gay people I know in Saskatchewan and the gay people I know in British Columbia, very different people. Very different people.
Oh yeah.
And it's just the environment they grew in, right? You know what I mean? Because like here in British Columbia, they're more accepting, so you kind of be like, yeah, whatever. I could dress like this, I could talk like this, or whatever.
Even the straight people, it's like in Alberta, like very few people are wearing skinny jeans. Here, everybody, you can't find anybody who's not wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more of like, I remember making fun of my brother hard for like wearing skinny jeans when we were like kids, because he's younger, right, and he was like more in tune with fashion of the day, and I was wearing my baggy Alberta jeans, and I was making fun of him. Now my jeans are much tighter than his.
Yeah, dude.
Since I've moved to Vancouver,
Yeah.
Jeans get tighter one way or the other. You're gonna get skinnier.
Yeah, for some reason, when you're closer to water, your jeans just start shrinking. Once there's a beach, the salt gets in your jeans, and your jeans go whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Wow.
So, yeah, that tangent was so far off.
Fucking random. We're just talking about like, how different we're talking about stereotypical homosexuals and what were we even talking about? What the
It
fuck?
doesn't matter, dude. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
But yeah,
We shouldn't be talking about this because we're a bunch of straight white men. We'll get in trouble.
it's true. Rather oafish once
Yeah.
as well.
I suppose
We're
so.
just a couple country dummies, just
Country
drinking
dummies.
coffee and just spewing whatever's going into our brain right now.
Yeah. No. Oh man, we should go see that new Rambo film. But apparently we can't watch it because we'll be
Why?
racist if we watch it now.
Really? Why?
Because he kills cartel members, and the cartel members are Mexican, and so they're like, you're racist if you watch Rambo because he kills Mexicans. And it's like,
That's a
well,
shame.
no, he's killing bad people. They just happen to be Mexican,
Yeah. Could you just go back to killing Russians, please?
Yeah, it's all right to kill people with the same skin color.
Yeah.
That's a very communist thing, you know what I mean? Like, nobody gets mad at communist countries that just they'll just murder their own people, you know what I mean? Like, during World War II, Stalin killed much more of his own people than the Germans did.
I don't want to say
Anybody
nobody
else?
got mad about it.
Oh, no, people got mad about it, but, like, in history, they're painted very differently than the horrors they have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, Mao China as well, like, people don't know about that as well.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like, well, I mean, I think like Nazi Germany, like everyone can kind of agree
Oh,
that
they're
Nazis are the tip top of like what's the most evil in the world, even though like there are other dictators who killed more people and
yeah,
stuff.
but like, think about it. Like, they have their uniforms are gray and black. They wear giant big black boots. They have skulls on their uniforms,
Yeah.
and they speak German, which for some reason they always sound like they're arguing,
Yeah.
even if they're saying good morning. You know what I mean?
Sounds like-
So it's perfect, like perfect bad guy. Like, they're literally the
Yeah.
illustration of a bad guy.
And also like just like television basically originated in Germany, right? So there was like it's the most like visually documented atrocity of that
That's
scale.
true. That's a good point. That's a
So
good
the
point.
storytelling aspect of it is like off the charts when you compare it to like Stalin or you know, I
And that
don't
was China, Venezuela,
know. Yeah, there
or
you
Pol Pot during Vietnam War.
damn.
I know
You know your
my.
atrocities.
I do. Well, I did. Well, I did a research on a couple of the smaller ones in high school. Learned about
Well,
them.
that's cool.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
Well, no, and you know why I only learned about them is because of punk rock music.
Hmm.
Because I would listen to the Dead Kennedys, and they had this one song called "Holiday in Cambodia,"
Oh yeah.
and there's this one part in the song. He says "po, pot, po, pot," and he just keeps repeating it, and it gets faster and faster and faster. I'm like, who's this po pot guy? And then I did my research, and I was like, holy shit, this person was literally responsible for killing. Was it like something like over 300,000 Cambodians, and he got house arrest, and he died in his bed at an old age.
Wow.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah, of course.
It's ridiculous. Um, yeah, but we shouldn't dwell on. Man, look at this fucking story. Like look at this podcast talking about gay, super gay performers that are really manly looking, and then talking about
We're on
genocides.
straight to dictators and genocide. Yeah, what else could we tackle today?
What else could tackle today? Oh no, this is what I wanted to ask you. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have those days off, right?
Oh yeah, we were
So
talking about something.
you're gonna have those days off. What are you gonna do? What's the thing you're like? Because you're like, I'm gonna tackle a project, some projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
No,
what
no,
is that
no.
project?
So like,
And I don't want to. I don't know. Answer.
no. I'm just torn between two ideas.
Let's hear 'em.
One is the I feel like my most well thought out Kickstarter idea for someday in the hopefully not too distant future is like is my board or not board game but like chess piece kind of map marker set of pieces where you're metagaming over the world map
Mhm.
that whole area there, and I feel like I could always just make progress on that guy. um, I've listed out, like a dozen or so like locations I want to have, and I've got like a checklist. Every one I'm going to model and print and paint and photograph, and then for the like larger settings, I'm going to do an illustration for. Like I've already done a couple, so there's some juicy renders, because we know we like those illustrations. It's the fondue at the party, man. So I'm gonna really double down on those and try to make that happen.
It's your fondue.
That's my fondue.
Yeah.
That's my DJ at the
Yeah.
booth
I know totally.
with one, ear of the headset on, jamming out, getting everybody excited. And but the other idea is this like this dungeon thing, the dungeon tile thing that I worked on last week. My homework from last week
Yeah.
really, it was really kind of cool to see. Like I mean, I didn't even finish a tile, I would say, but I did kind
But
of
it was something. You know what I
like
mean?
a workflow for creating it.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting to think about like I want to make like a Zelda dungeon, but for an RPG game, so it'd be a little different. There's some different rules. Characters have different abilities than than you would have in Zelda, right? But sort of that scale of a dungeon, something, maybe like I don't know, 7 or 8 rooms, or more, maybe a dozen or so different tiles to make that up. And I think that would be a really fun project as well. But I have it less figured out in my head. So
Mm.
the fun is as like, because it's the new like kind of thing that I feel like really passionate about that I want to do right now. It's like I just want to jump into it, but at the same time, it's like I, I can't keep starting and stopping. I mean, I guess I can. There's nothing stopping me, but I feel like
Don't do that.
finish something. at some point I got to actually like finish a thing, and
Yeah.
sure, like maybe you think, well, if you're passionate about something else, then maybe you should stop doing what you're doing and do this other thing. But I feel like there's like just like a hump to any project, no matter how passionate you are about it. You got to get through and you got to do the work. And I think I still
Yeah.
have, like when I was doing my map, like there was a point when I was like 75% of the way through, I was thinking like, what am I doing? Spend all my time on this map. You never draw maps. Like why all of a sudden you decide to just do this? But now that it's done, it's like my it's like it's filled up my gas tank for inspiration for like map making. It was just
Mhm.
like an interest before, but now it's like more. It's like kind of like become a hobby at least now. And having one out there, it's just like kind of solidified it. Like when you finish a project, it kind of
It's
solidifies it.
real.
Yeah, and you're
It's
like,
real
oh,
now.
I'm
It's not just an
doing
idea.
this thing. Yeah, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit more like a craftsman. And I think that kind of, not that I mean, I've made one, not that I'm a craftsman yet, but
That's
yeah,
great.
I'm on the path. I've walked down the,
You know, can I interject? Can I interject?
yeah,
Would you like to hear what I think you should try out? What you should do?
yeah, I'll hear it. I'll hear it.
Well, I think you should do more of the tile stuff that you did, like you said, for your homework and stuff like that. I think you should do more of that.
I was thinking as a next step would be to just not really make anything, just draw like a layout of like a dungeon layout. Like what
Yeah.
were like, okay, here's like the,
Hey, here's an idea.
yeah.
Make the dungeon layout kind of thing, and then go ahead and cut them out, the
Yeah,
pieces out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like plan it, plan it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then like, okay, this is what kind of the dungeon feel I want, and then okay, how many pieces would that require?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want it to be too like vague and general, like where because there's like you can make your dungeon really specific, but then
Hmm.
it's less customizable, or you can make it kind of Lego blocky and more generic, but you can build all this whatever you want with it.
Hmm.
I think I'm erring more on the side of like a custom dungeon that has like one clear like I'm building a dungeon that's like a specific encounter, like a specific kind of thing. So I'm like a lot more on the side of like a specific
Yeah.
assets that I have already thought about the uses. So it makes it less customizable, but I'm sure you could still rearrange it if you wanted to.
Yeah. Sure. Well, this is the thing though. Like, just don't worry about because it's hard. I know what you're saying, right? Because like, there's a bunch of people out there that are doing exactly that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have the temptation to be like, well, what are other people doing? Should I do that? Should
Yeah.
I put some sort of implement into that thing? It's like, maybe. But what's important is what's the dungeon tiles of Alex Kolakowski look like? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I wouldn't want to see the dungeon tiles of Alex Kolakowski. Uh, you know, Mass Effect inspired version. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to see you looking at somebody else's recipe.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Alex's recipe in your dungeon tiles. And some of that came out in the dungeon tiles you made for that little test. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is Alex. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't
And so,
really look at much. Like whenever I'm doing my final rendering and polishing, I
yeah.
go to this photographer, Neil Brunel, and he's a photographer from England.
Yeah.
He like shoots a lot of like English landscapes, and he's like really plays with long term exposure. Well, not really long term, maybe like second or two,
Hmm.
and like and fog, and he
Uh,
just makes really like super moody like photos.
yeah. So
And
yeah, it's like that saying, you know, losers focus on winning, and winners focus on winning. Sorry, no, losers focus on winners. Losers. I keep fucking up these sayings. I sound like a big dum
losers
dum.
focus on losing, and
No, losers focus on winners, and winners focus on winning, right? And I know the thing is
oh,
like you can get caught up on like the winning,
Yeah.
but what winning just means when you strip it down from like a medal or a first place or a grand prize or a job or whatever. Winning is just doing what's necessary to get to that thing that you want to try to achieve. And that's not winning. That's moving forward to the thing that has to be that you're seeking to try and doing. So like these dungeon tiles, or you're making a painting or whatever, right? If you're just focusing on like, okay, this is what I want to try to do, and this is how I'm just gonna like try to get into it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And you put all your energy and your not all your energy. Well, you know what I mean. You put your energy and your focus in it. Something better or a better like something good will come out of it instead of you like looking over your shoulder and looking at Joe Schmo, what is he doing? And then you look over your other shoulder and you're like, what's Sally doing? And then you start trying to compete with those things, you know what I mean? But what you should be doing is just looking forward. This main thing, what I want to try to achieve, and then whatever you have to offer in that lane, pour it out and put it in there, and then something out of it. It doesn't mean you're going to get like a best-selling book or anything like that, but you'll get something closer to what is unique and that comes from you, which is important, right?
Yeah, I think it's fair to look at other people's stuff, but
Oh yeah,
I
of
think that
course.
should be after you've done, after you've kind of put everything in that you got. You got to put it all in first, get your voice out there, and then you can be like, then it's fair to look at what you've done, and hopefully, well, I mean, you're doing this right now, and you're seeing, oh, this other guy's doing this cool thing, and it makes me want to redo this. But it's like you don't want to go too far. You don't want to redo everything.
Yeah.
You just want to you want to identify where your idea was like, I guess, or your approach to rendering or whatever your problem is like a little bit behind the curve,
Mm-hmm.
and then just bump that up to be at one standard with people who are doing it at a high level, and then the places where you excel, where you feel like this is your fondue tower,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like just leave that alone, polish it in your own way if you want to, but don't let other people like muck with that thing that you were really passionate about, that you feel like this is what you wanted to
Yeah.
express.
You're in competition with yourself. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's kind of like speaking of which, speaking of competition yourself, hey, what are you doing October 6th? I think it's October 6th.
That's like a Sunday, right? Something.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a big fight. We gotta go watch that.
There's a Sunday fight.
Yeah, because it's in Australia.
Oh, that's that fight. Oh,
Yeah, Izzy.
yeah. Eze.
Israel Dasanos.
No, it's
Yeah, Israel Dasanos.
no, it's Whitaker.
No, Robert Whitaker and Israel Dasanos.
No,
That's his name.
Adesanya.
Artist. Oh, I'm probably thinking.
That's Adesanya is a Brazilian name.
Oh yeah, my bad. Adesanya.
Yeah, we should watch that.
Yeah, but
It's on a Sunday?
I was yeah.
That's good to know.
But what is it? So in the fight when he was fighting Kevin Gastelum?
Kevin Gastelum?
Yeah. It was the last round. It was 5 rounds. In the last round, he says to his coach, "I'm ready to die," and you're like, "Whoa, this guy's crazy! Like he's really into this thing, right?"
Yeah.
However, and I was thinking about that fight, and I was thinking about what he said. He didn't. He was thinking about himself, and he was thinking about in his moment. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, "I'm going to kill that guy," or "I'm going to beat that guy up," or "I'm going to hurt him." He was like, "I'm going to die. I'm ready to get to the next thing." Right? He focused on himself, and that brought him to winning the belt and having an amazing last round and looking like he was a master. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
And so to try to take that analogy and move it over to art is just It's like, yes, you can look around what other people are doing, and that's important because their structure, their inspiration, and all that stuff. However, though, you have to succeed. You have to like try to find what you can offer and say to yourself, okay, it's me right now, and I'm gonna try to
Well,
put it out there that it's you know what I'm trying to say?
he's like,
I'm trying to find the
what he's
words.
kind of saying when he's like, I will die, or I'm willing to die, or
Yeah.
whatever he said.
But the thing is like
He's
it was
basically
still
willing to sacrifice anything in that moment.
no, not the sacrificial part. The fact that he was addressing himself and he was focusing on himself. You know what I mean? But in the because the pursuit, like in the task at hand in that fight was I got to beat Kevin, right? I have to beat him, right?
Beat up Kevin real
I have to beat up Kevin real bad. But however, that was just the place where he needs to go. But he needed to focus on himself. He had to tell himself, like, I am willing to die, right? And let's say you're a painter, right? And you have a goal, and you're not saying I'm willing to die for the painting. That's insane. Saying you're willing to die in a fight, that's insane too. But what I'm trying to say is, he's saying like, I'm putting me towards this goal. I'm putting myself, everything towards this journey.
Mm.
And a more real version of him came out than anything else if he said like, I'm gonna beat this guy, or like I'm gonna be the best, like better than this person, or you know what I mean? Like he at that moment he wasn't worried about
and like it's not like he's talking on the podium. He's trying to like
Yeah.
make some kind of point.
Yeah, or he's trying to like, or he's like in the cage and he's like trying to make a show. He's just like, it's just me, it's just me right now. You know what I mean? And he's like, and in that moment, he like painted a beautiful picture, and like won that fight. And like I said, he looked like a martial arts expert, and he's only 26. You know what I mean?
Mm.
He looks like he's been fighting for 50 years.
Dude, I think that's a great story to end this thing on.
Yeah.
I gotta go, man.
I know you gotta go. I know you gotta go.
Yeah, it's about time.
Okay,
So-
let me fucking end this thing.
Closing thoughts? You have a closer?
Closing thoughts is try to. It's good to look around and take note, but make sure you try to offer what is you.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's my closer.
Sure.
What's your closer?
Well, what do we usually say at this time? Thank you for watching. If you did watch this,
Well, I got my little script here. Okay.
oh, okay. Let's hear your script then.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Playing the Artist. If you want to help out the show, please subscribe and hit the little bell icon to make sure you know when we go live or future videos come up. We go live every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Pacific, except today. Today was a little earlier. 7 o'clock Pacific. And yeah, plugs. Alex, where can we find you?
Tiger Skull RPG, all one word, at Instagram or Facebook. There's just click on the links that I put in the description. They're all correct.
Yeah, I know, but
There's
it's
two.
good. It's good to put that out there. You know, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram, forbidden_prince, or you could check out some 3D models if you want to print some 3D models for your 3D printer.
Yeah, do that.
And
Simple stuff.
if you want to, and if you want to check out my other work at ArtStation, just my name, Antoine Marchildon. You could check out my ArtStation, see what I've done in the past and whatnot. And that's it. And thanks for joining for another episode. And we're probably going to see you on the next Tuesday. I got to take a piss.
All right. Yeah, don't let me slow you down. Have a good one, and peace out, y'all.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Cheers.